The First Minister gave a speech warning about the perils of Brexit in Aberdeen on Monday while on the general election campaign trail, but was accused of misleading Scots by not telling them the truth about how long it would take to join the trading bloc. John Swinney and his band of SNP MP wannabes have been accused of peddling a myth that an independent Scotland can easily rejoin the European Union. This policy has formed a key part of the First Minister's general election campaigning, as they claim to be the only party of Scotland wanting to do this. It was also the main topic in a speech he gave in Aberdeen on Monday as he railed against the removal of Scotland from the trading bloc against our will. But he has been called out for lying to Scots about how easy it would be for the country to join the EU if he breaks up the UK. Mr Swinney told gathered SNP supporters, "So I am asking people to vote SNP if you believe it is best for Scotland's future to be back in the European Union. I am asking you to vote SNP if you believe that decisions about Scotland should be taken in Scotland. I am asking you to vote SNP to put Scotland's interests first," but Scottish Lib Dem finance spokesman John Ferry hit out at the First Minister by accusing him of perpetuating a comforting lie instead of being truthful with voters. This is because while the UK could rejoin the EU if it wanted to as it fits the rules, an independent Scotland would have to start again. He wrote in The Spectator, "An independent Scotland in the EU is a myth for the simple reason that the act of separating from the UK would create a new Scottish state structurally prohibited from entering the EU, certainly within any reasonable time frame." At the heart of the SNP's pitch is a straightforward contradiction. The party wants Scotland to secede from the UK and then accede to the EU, using the Article 49 provision for new entrants to the bloc. This would require Scotland to adopt the 35 chapters of the EU's acquis communautaire body of laws. But at the same time, the SNP's post-secession national currency plan is to continue using sterling unofficially, rather than its own official state-controlled currency. This makes it impossible to comply with the EU's acquis. The NAT's strategy of sterlingization has been mocked by economists who pointed out that it would damage mortgage rates and leave the country at the mercy of England. And it would also mean it could not join the trading bloc, as using the currency of a country that is outside the EU would clearly make it impossible to meet these requirements. Mr Ferry labels the repeated claims by SNP ministers about Scotland being compliant with EU rules as misdirection, as previous compliance with EU laws across the UK tells us nothing about the accession challenge Scotland would face, having severed its economy from key institutions, such as a currency issuing central bank, critical to meeting the EU's entry requirements. He points out that this is a realistic proposition for the UK but not for an independent Scotland. To conclude, he blasts John Swinney gave a speech in Aberdeen yesterday where he again made the false claim that a vote for the SNP is a vote to rejoin the EU. He also complained that Scotland's voice simply does not matter to the Westminster establishment. Not content with misleading the people of Scotland, it seems he's now also resorting to aping the rhetoric of Nigel Farage. How far the party has fallen, Scottish Lib Dem MSP Willie Rennie added, the SNP's support for the EU has always been skin deep. They spent more money trying to win the Shetland by-election than they did on the EU referendum. If they thought ditching their support for EU membership would hasten independence, they would change their position in an instant. If they ever succeeded in breaking up the UK, Scotland would be trapped outside both the UK and the EU at vast cost.